Good morning. This is the safety briefing for Wednesday, May 4th. Couple of things we want to talk about today. Yesterday, we saw the deployment of two new space coolers for two of the cool zones, one at Alpha 24, the other at Alpha 8. These new units act considerably differently than the coolers that we've been used to over the last several years. And these two are more or less prototypes. We're going to try these two out for this year, and if we like them, then we'll get more of them next year. If we don't like them, then we'll figure something out. Secondarily, at the same locations, we have two new cool zone tents that have been put up over there, the blue ones. They're a lot heavier duty than the white ones that we've been using, and mostly this is a cost-saving idea, even though the initial cost for these tents is pretty substantial. I think I was quoted $1,800 for each one of these things, but they do have a 3-year warranty, and rather than buy 20 to 30 of the smaller ones every single year, we can use some of these heavier duty ones maybe a little bit longer. We'll see what happens when they get through the first monsoon, but they were sold to us as being military grade, so we'll see how well those hold up over the next couple of months. They will have some sides installed to them also. Those were an added option, but we'll be taking care of those here in the next couple of weeks, I'm sure. And I want to thank Jesse Stewart from UDO for all his help in making these happen. He's been instrumental in seeing to it that these get deployed properly, and we do appreciate his help on that matter. I want to talk a little bit about stop signs in the basement particularly. We've had a number of witness accounts suggesting that there are far too many of our employees ignoring the stop signs in the basement. There are a lot of pedestrians down there. There's a lot of moving traffic and a lot of closed-in spaces where you may not be able to see around corners, may not be able to read people's minds as to what they're doing. So for the sake of everybody's sanity down there, please observe the stop signs and mind your speed in the basement as much as possible. We do appreciate that. I want to talk for a minute about seat belts. There was a recent unscientific study conducted by members of management indicated about a 30% compliance rate with the use of seat belts. Not going to comment on the safety aspect of the seat belts, not even going to comment on the idea of compliance. That's not my position. But what I do know is that it was discussed in the latest Joint Safety Committee meeting that it is important, and this is coming from management, it is important that people start wearing their seat belts consistently. What that means, I leave it to your imagination. But wink, wink, nudge, nudge, please wear your seatbelts. And finally today, one kind of curious incident that took place last week that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention. There was an airplane that was pushed out of gate Alpha 12. It was an air start. And somehow in the course of the turn, the tow bar was connected to the airplane correctly and was put in position on the tow lug on the pushback itself. But for whatever circumstances, and it really isn't important how it happened at this time, but what did happen is this: the retainer pin on the hitch did not get installed into the tow bar. And unfortunately, this got missed by several employees that were in the vicinity, up to and including into the pushback. The airplane got pushed almost all the way out with an air start engine running before it became evident that the tow bar was not in fact attached to the pushback. So it did come apart, and it was a very interesting situation. Fortunately, nobody got hurt. We got very lucky that everything turned out okay. But it was one of those situations where, again, situational awareness, and we got out of routine from what we understand. That's exactly what happened. The person that was hooking up the tow bar had it set up to have somebody else help. There was something that changed. That other person never materialized, and this part of the procedure got missed because we fell out of routine. And mistakes happen. You know, we're human, and it is the cost of doing business, but we also got very lucky on this one. So again, be mindful of your pre-departure walkarounds and make sure that everybody that comes in contact with that tow bar is looking at it. It's just good habit. Every time you walk by a tow bar, check the bypass pin, make sure the tow bar is connected to the tow lug correctly, and make sure now that it's connected to the tug correctly. Everybody pretty much has an opportunity while you're working a flight to walk by that tow bar at least once. And it doesn't hurt anything for everybody to just take one look and make it habit to ensure that everybody is doing this safely and making sure that we all end up going home the same way we came in. You know, in my case, crying in a Volkswagen, but we're not going to get into that right now. That's all I've got for today. Any questions or comments down in the comment section down here. And as always, you can get us on the hotline phone number at the end of this video. In the meantime, may the 4th be with you, and be safe out there. You know, I was talking with a friend of mine this morning about some of the production of these videos. And it's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, is how much of the material that we have that we don't necessarily touch on. So I just wanted to take a minute to kind of go down the list, give a real quick synopsis of everything that Denise and I are working on right now, because the list is pretty extensive, and I don't think the lighting can see that. So things that we're working on right now, and this is just a quick list. I'm not going to go into any detail on this. If you have a question about any of this stuff as to specifics, feel free, but here's some things that we're working on. We're working on GSE returning unrepaired equipment to us. This is an ongoing issue. It seems to have been mitigated a little bit because we brought attention to it, but GSE returning unrepaired equipment to the line has been a problem, specifically with some bagroom equipment. So that's something that's ongoing. Trying to get a hook on the front of pushbacks so that we can hook the headset cord to the pushback itself and not wrap it around the steering wheel. This is an ongoing issue. The committee isn't getting notifications of lost time accidents as we're contractually obligated to. This is still something that is an ongoing issue that we're working on. We're making progress definitely on that. Working on UDO carts behind the Alpha 2 and Alpha 3 pier because it is a long pull by hand. This is something that has been a continuing problem, and we're still working on this. Alleyway lighting, we talk about the alleyway lighting quite a bit. Black mold testing in N2 after multiple leaks. Looks like we are going to get some progress on that. The environmental folks are going to come out and do some black mold testing in the N2 break room, and that is as recently as a couple days ago. Making sure that the ventilation in the basement works correctly, making sure the fans work. Vests, safety vests. We did just recently get a shipment in. I think that is ongoing, and everybody should be able to get the correct vest. And if you're not, please let us know. We want you to be able to wear not only the correct vest, but a vest that's in good enough condition that it actually works. So if you're flying around in a 3-year-old vest that's only been washed once, then maybe it's time to really consider getting a new one. Computers and printers for closeouts. Obviously, we're not using the Jetway computers and printers anymore, but there have been a number of new computers and printers that have been strategically placed around the airport so that crew chiefs can do their closeouts. Working on the pushback mapping. You've seen my pushback map for Bravo 4. We're working with a gentleman called Michael Napoli out of corporate to work on some of that. I'm doing a lot of it myself. just to expedite it. And we're planning on having a map for every single pushback, so you can walk up to a gate and see what the pushback's supposed to look like. Looking at getting the manual crank water reels retrofitted to electric at Bravo 8 and Bravo 12. We use those gates frequently. We should have modern equipment to be able to do it. Working on getting a jersey barrier at the tables in the Bravo 5 area, because people cut between the break room door and the outdoor tables out there, and we find that to be a safety hazard. So we're working on that. Trying to find a new hearing test location. We want to go back to the hangar. The one at Alpha 18 just doesn't work. The training room over here at Alpha 1 just doesn't work because the noise level is too high, and it ends up with us doing a lot of unnecessary retests. So we're working with the company to try and find a better place to do that. We want to go to the hangar again and do it there, and we'll see how far we get there. We want to make sure that we're checking the brakes on the carts, because GSE doesn't have the manpower to check all the brakes on all the carts. So if you have a cart that isn't braking correctly, please use an ME250 tag on that, tag it out, call it in. We're working on the City of Phoenix facilities trucks being parked poorly at Alpha 22. They've got an entire parking area over there, and they seem to manage to park in the way fairly frequently. Working more on juice cart administration. You know, obviously we ran the juice cart out of this office last year. That has changed for this year because, again, we're not management, and it is not our job to manage a company job. So we're working with management to deal with that. Next one, bag room fans, bag room ventilation. We have had a couple of meetings on this lately, working on some new ventilation options for the bag room, particularly Bravo 13 pier, but all of them need some attention because they don't do what we're asking them to do. Replacement and adjustments of the tires in slides. I did get clarification on that yesterday, that the JGBT folks are going to be working on that over the next several days and weeks. So the tires at the bottom of the slides actually stop the bags from jumping out the bottom. There's a step at the Alpha 7 break room that poses a trip hazard. We're trying to mitigate that as much as we can. Potable water service ladders. We've ordered some prototypes similar to the ones that are used in Chicago and Philadelphia. Hopefully we get those in soon, and they're not going to be these lousy aluminum ones that we ordered last year that are, you know, they break quickly, they feel light duty, and they're only this wide. So that's no good. What else we got here? Trying to get brooms and dustpans for the bag room. I don't think that's been fully done yet, but we had a request from some bag room agents. Can I have a broom? Sure, why not? Working on getting first aid kits for the break rooms so that you don't have to go searching out a first aid kit. That was a great idea. It was inspired, and we're working on it. And the cool zone refresh, I touched on that earlier with the new fans, but obviously the old coolers are getting a full refresh. We're going through those things almost every single day, try and figure out which ones work correctly, which ones don't, which ones need better power supplies, and which ones have some issues that we're working on. I'm working with Jesse Stewart, Mike Solani on that one. They've been very cooperative in helping us with that. And that is about it. That's all we're working on today. Oh wait, I've got more here. We talk with the trainers very frequently about training standardization, and they have been an incredible resource in helping Denise and I really understand what it is that we are training and how we're going about doing that. So I want to send kudos out to the training guys. Working on getting the N2 ceiling tiles fixed, a fuel spill procedure. The shade at Expedite, apparently that project is moving forward. The engineering plan has been submitted, and I think we're going to finally get a real shade at Expedite, but you know, don't hold your breath and don't believe me until it's up. Working on the Congestion International, we've talked about this quite a bit lately, especially with Southwest over there. That has been a continuing problem. De-icing truck has been put off till next year. Hopefully we get one from Boston before it gets cold again. Right now, not really worrying about that too much. We're working on getting aircraft hose extensions, or rather for air conditioners, so that we can air condition the bins while we're in there. And let's see. Oh, and some facilities items. There's some tar strips that are sticking up in some concrete, and some outflow spigots on the N2 concourse that are broken and present a laceration hazard. So yeah, this little section was long. Oh yeah, we're working on getting CPR training still too. You know, these are all things that are on our list that we're working on, and it is you know, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and I just wanted to touch base on that and let you all know that, you know, there's more to what we're doing than just the 3 or 4 minute videos that I make once or twice a week. So on behalf of Denise and I, we appreciate your patience with us working on these sorts of things. And of course, if you have any questions, come see she or I, or get us on the hotline at any time, and we'll get back to you, and we'll start working on it. We'll add it to our list.